Okay, so next up are my favorite series from 2024 that I enjoyed. First and foremost, it is a series by an author named Cami Holt that are about the siblings and cousins that are the Grahams, that make up the Grahams, who are this prominent family in their community. They have so many businesses and are well known. And the very first book in that series is called Made for You. This is about Justin Graham and Siani. Justin is again popular, just like the rest of his family. I believe he's on the basketball team. It starts when they are in high school. And Siani has been in love with him since they were in elementary school. But of course, he never knew that. They had not had any encounters with one another. But that all changes one day. Siani, was in an altercation, which is not like her at all, and Justin comes to the rescue and saves it. It gets hit in the process. And so their story sort of begins from there, that it unfolds, and she's very surprised that it's even him who has come to her rescue, that he even notices her or knows who she is, but he has been watching her from afar as well. Chiani has had a very hard life. Her mom is around, but she's not really present. So she's had a lot of responsibility put on her. She's responsible and has been raising her younger brothers. Like, the mom does the basics of keeping the lights on in the house, but that's as far as it goes. And so she just doesn't have time for all of the extracurricular and other activities. And Justin, being the sweet and wonderful guy that he is, takes a liking to not only her, but also her brothers, and just wants to see her grow, be better, be there for her, and wants to make life easier for her. And so this story follows them. Next in this series is, I don't know why it is written that way, but it starts off with Justin, goes to two of his cousins, and then the last two books in the series are his other two brothers. But anyway, so we have three brothers, Justin and his other two brothers, that are going to be the last book, and then two cousins. So this is about his cousin. His name is Rule, and it follows Nayeli. This is a second chance romance. Rule and Nayeli were so in love in high school and all the things. One day she moves away without saying anything. He has no idea. His heart is broken. He goes on to be this huge, famous music artist. I don't know. I think a singer and all the things. Okay, switch that. So it was Rule was out of town. Rule finally comes back to town. Now that he's back in town, it's no hiding and running away from Nayeli, and there are secrets that unfold and shakes his entire world. So next in the series is Don't Make Me Wait, that follows Messiah Graham and Miana. Messiah is the brother to Rule, and he is in the NBA. Miana is the mother of his best friend's child. They both experience a lot of tragedy and trauma because the best friend, who was also in the NBA, and that well, I don't know if he was also in the NBA. Yeah, he was also in the NBA and grew up together with Messiah. He is killed and passes away, and so they're sort of left to grieve together. And you see how their relationship forms and unfolds. There are a lot of secrets that unveil different dynamic between these two, but it was a good read. So next up in the story is called Loyalty Over Everything. This is about Loyal Graham, who is the brother to Justin. And Loyal is the jokester in the family, the one that you see the surface of. And in this story, you get to see more of his heart, and that he is still dealing with a lot of grief and a lot of hurt that people don't always see. And he meets this lady named Tyus. I do not know how to pronounce her name. She's a single mom who has the weight of the world on her shoulders, who is just experiencing blow after blow after blow. However, she is the one that sees him. And so this story just unfolds between them two, and was a good read. You see his relationship that develops with her son as well, and just so much more to his story. Next up in the series is Save Her For Me by Kimmy, that follows from the very first book. So with the first book, it was Justin and Gianni. Janae, is the best friend of Wise, who is the guy in this book. His brother is Justin. So Janae gets with Wise. That's how they introduce with one another. Wise is the oldest of Justin and loyal, and the one that most people know nothing about. He was living away in another location, has finally come back home, and this unlikely pairing between the two has come about. Janae is the fun girl, the bottle girl, the one that goes out, the one that hangs out, and all the things, but never shows you the depth of who she is. And so Wise is just like his name, the wise, the more laid back of all the siblings, the oldest, and they pair with one another. And you learn that there is so much more that meets the eye to Miss Janae than anybody else. This is called Save Her For Me, and definitely was like saving the best for last. The first and last book in these series are my favorite too. Highly, highly, highly recommend. Trigger warnings, and also spoilers, so skip if you don't want to know. There is sexual abuse that is mentioned in this book. A lot of family secrets that go on that is mentioned in this book, and just so much that unravels within the trees and webs of things. So recommend this one. Next up, we have the Danger series. I didn't know at the time, but this was really hard to come by, and I have them in hardback. I had these on my shelf since like, I don't know, June of 2023. I bought these books because I heard that they were good, but I had never read them. And I decided to read this year. These were good, y'all. These were good. Oh my goodness. Mind you, we talked about this earlier. I don't even like a lot of spice and all the things in my books. It was definitely it needs to. There's also a new book that has come out. It's a book about siblings. These are the Danger brothers. And the third book that has come out is about, it's green. So we've got red, blue, green. It's about their other brother. And it'll probably be another book that comes out about their sister. So anyway, we'll start with the first one, Diamond Danger, who is the youngest in the family. But he is the boss of the family business. There is tropes in each of these books that involves BDSM. We'll put it that way. But there was still story on top of the spice, which is why I was okay. But these were good reads and good backstory. So even though Diamond is the youngest, he is the black sheep in the family and the most business-minded, if you will, the go-getter, the one who is the boss and like does the things. So he has a very tumultuous relationship with his mom, with his parents. It's kind of like a my sister's keepers things, to where the older sibling has health issues and you keep having children to be body parts, so to speak. And so it's a lot of resentment that he has towards his family because of those things. And it has a no fraternizing rule at his company. However, he has this new assistant who joins named Quincy, who is right up his alley of his type and all the things. And so the story just sort of unfolds from there. She is different than what he's experienced, and there is background there with him. But you see a man who knows what he wants, goes for what he wants. A young lady who is feisty and a bit of a firecracker, who will not just take anything. But you get very, very, very much love in this. So I recommend this one. And then the next one is about his older brother, Diesel. Diesel, who is a twin to Declan. And Declan is sort of like the butthole in the family. And it's because he has a terrible relationship with his wife. He also has children with her, but we'll learn more about him in his third book. Diesel is the closest to their father, and it's kind of like the muscle of the family. And he, of course, meets this damsel in distress who is a divorcee who is in a really messed up situation of a trifling ex-husband and is trying to find her way in the world. And so they kind of cross paths and she takes my boy off the market. Next up, we have one of my faves, a very different read for this year. I was getting into my paranormal fantasy bag, but it's giving black paranormal, black fantasy. And that is, The Secret World of Maggie Gray by Desiree Granger, who is now only going by Granger. And I was able to get one of the copies that I don't think is out. This is the one that's out on Amazon. So I read this series. This is book 1 and this is book 2. These are some thick reads, y'all. Let me tell you about it. So this is giving Black Harry Potter meets Atlanta meets HBCU all in one mix type thing. But yeah, so that is what this book and this series in this world is giving. I read a lot of books by Desiree, so she's getting a bit out of her comfort zone with this one, but I enjoyed it. It's mixed reviews about it. Some people really like it, some people don't. I would say give it time, give it character development. So it follows a witch, a siren, and a vampire in this magical Black university that is underground Atlanta, but they are all grown and adult, but at this university. But anyway, this was a good read. It's like a lot of secrets that are unfolding and coming out about this first family, which that's the second book that comes out. The first family is the family that runs everything underground and downstairs, and they are all very fascinated with Maggie Gray, who is the complete replica and reincarnate of this sort of deity that is big in the first family and down there. And so they're a bit like on the outs and afraid of who she is. And so it's a lot of self-discovery in the first book. We have werewolves, like I said, sirens, witches, vampires, just all types that are in this book, and it is crazy. Moving along, we have Beneath the Silence and With These Words by Kayla Shine. These are book 3 and 4 in the, I think it's called Unseen series by Kayla Shine. The first 2 books in the series were good. I read them a long time ago. I need to go back and read them again. I don't remember everything that was there, but I will put them on the screen so you can see for yourself. And this last book was the best in the series, in my opinion. And it was about a security guard called Hakeem. And Hakeem is very like the big diesel guy that is silent but deadly. And in Beneath the Silence, it is just what the title says. You see what is beneath the silence. More of his story. He is not the most vocal or emotional person. And you will have to read the other 2 books first, because his book starts out as a continuation of the previous book and sort of his revenge for some things that were revealed in the other books that I don't want to share due to spoilers. But you learn more about Hakeem's upbringing. It is some flashbacks, which I don't typically like, but it was not bad in this book. You sort of get the backstory on why is he so closed off? Why is he such a silent but deadly type? Where that comes from. He is a gym owner now, after being this security guard for a very famous mogul guy who meets this MMA fighter who trains or has started training in his gym. A very unlikely pair that you see the background story. And she is an MMA fighter, a very, very strong woman that you see on the outside, but she is tangled in a lot of webs. And it was really good to me to see like this person who feels like they have a familial responsibility, and it could be very weighty, and she's not sure how to even untangle from that, not seeing how she is being used by her family. And so it's a lot of character development and just story within the story. Next up, we have Bambi. It is a 3-book series by Lady Nisha. Again, Lady Nisha is definitely have a lot of comedy. It has a lot of comedy in her books. This one was a shocker. I was not expecting it to be as good as it was to me. A very different read than what I'm used to. So it follows King and Bambi, who is about. So Bambi is this young and turned young lady who is 24 years old. She is plus size, over 200 pounds, and it follows her and her cousin Shayla. Bambi is like a very flamboyant personality, does not take a lot of mess from people and all the things. She come in contact with this guy named King. King has a cousin named Tristan. Yeah, Tristan, I believe. King and Tristan are a terror. They grew up in a very unconventional way. So Tristan's grandfather, pimp. And so they grow up in a house with pimps and a lot of women that the pimps pimp, if that makes sense. So a very unconventional way. They were not taught to respect women in any kind of way, but, are still, I guess, cool for the most part. So years down the line, of course, they are uncontrollable in their behavior. He comes in contact with Bambi and just really kind of gets a taste of his own medicine and is not used to that type of woman and ends up falling for her. This is a very quick little overview of the story, but I don't want to reveal too much. A lot of family secrets come out. A lot does unfold. I will say, I enjoyed the first book, but Bambi, she started to really irk my nerves in the next couple of books. Like, I'm not a third act breakup or unnecessary drama between the male main character and the female main character. And it was just some questionable things that happened, but it's just this crazy story. So another series I really enjoyed in 2024 was a Beauty and the Beast series, or this Beast series by Natavia. Natavia has a lot of books. So she has regular books and she has a whole lot of paranormal. And I was introduced to her. And so this is a story about Beast, werewolves, and also like coyotes and others. And it was just a roller coaster read. Now, you will have to give it a chance because it starts off with this guy named Goon, and it starts with his very backstory that might have been like the 1800s or whatever. In the first 3 books, it shows how he became a werewolf, like this paranormal situation, how it was introduced, where he gets the name Goon from. But there is so much that unfolds. There's drama, there's romance, there's suspense. It's like, it's a lot that is happening. And so the first 3 books are about this whole group, him and his pack, this woman that he encounters. There's a lot of plus size representation. It's a lot of like secrets, twists, turns, and all the things. And then the last 3 books, which is my favorite, it's a 6-book series. The last 3 books is about the children. Now, those books were really like a series that will keep you on your toes. And it all ties back to what was introduced in the first 3 books. So you do have to read the entire series, but I recommend it. If you're looking for Black paranormal, that has a lot of angst, suspense, drama, but also romance, a little bit of comedy as well, that's the series for you. The next series is the Treacherous Twins series. This was one that was a surprise to me. I had no idea about it, but really enjoyed it. So it starts with a book called Carried Away that is about a guy named Truce. Truce has a very terrible relationship with his mom. He was raised by his grandparents, but his mom was in the same house. his mom was in the same house. She had him when she was a teen, I believe, and has just ignored him his whole life. So he really dislikes his mom. So there is a neighbor that moves across the street from his grandfather. Truth lives a pretty much straight and narrow life, but he sells weed on the side. And he's also like really good with his hands, like cars, construction, different things that's needed around town, that he learned from his granddad, also taking care of like lawns and things. And so there's this young woman who moves across the street with two young children, and they sort of build this relationship. He's noticing that her lawn and things is just not taken care of the best. She is either she's in a marriage that she's trying to get out of, or a divorcee. And there is a lot more to her story that will unveil and be revealed throughout the story, but it starts off really well. So Carried Away is like a prologue to the rest of the series about these treacherous twins that I cannot talk too much about without giving away too much. But with the treacherous twins, the way that the book ends, spoiler alert if you don't want to hear it, I'm telling you now, at the very end of Carried Away, Truth goes to this bar and he sees a guy that looks identical to him, looks completely like him, and he's kind of freaked out about it. And so he just lets the time go by or whatever, and he gets a knock on the door. Not only is it the guy that looked exactly like him, but it's another that looks exactly like him as well. Two identical people. And so there is where we get the start of Treacherous Twins, where they come from, the backstory, and just know it's a whole lot of drama, family secrets, and things that unfold that get crazier and crazier as you read. Well, please like, comment, and subscribe. Check all of the information below. Turn on those post notifications. Until next time.